Sunday morning, but I thought I'd take this opportunity to make a video. For fuck's sake. So, it's Sunday morning, and I thought I'd make a video. Look, nice light. Good light. It's good light. It'd be rude not to, wouldn't it? Rude not to. So, got me dog. My dog's on the lead because she just barks like a lunatic whenever she's not having a ball thrown for her. Pisses me off a little bit, but you know, just dogs, isn't it? Dreaming Jaguars. Welcome to Sunday morning in the woods. Justin and I have been thinking about what we can do for content, and we thought we'd do a little series of videos on what does it feel like, what does it look like, what does it sound like for people that are thinking about having a DMT experience. Maybe we can kind of best describe the experience from our memory banks of experiences that we've had. So I thought the DMT entities, what do they look like? We'll save that for Justin and I in the week. But what does it feel like? What does it feel like to have a DMT experience? And that's a good one. And I thought I'd tackle that one on my own. So what does it feel like? What does it feel like? Without, you see lots of videos of people describing the visual content of a DMT experience. And there's not really a lot of emphasis on what it feels like. So what does it feel like? Okay. It feels, there's a very immediate sense of familiarity in the DMT space. Familiarity. You feel like you've been there before, and you say, we don't want to talk about sort of taking DMT because it's a bit like a bungee jump. It's a bit like a diving with white sharks. It's a bit like paragliding or abseiling, rock climbing. You have a DMT experience. You don't just take DMT. So what does it feel like? It feels familiar. It feels dog's just trying to roll his shit. For fuck's sake, this is doing my nut in. This is fucking difficult, isn't it? What does it feel like? So it feels familiar. It feels emotionally charged. It feels erratic. It feels fleeting. You kind of enter the space and there's an amalgamation of fleeting, irrational, downright craziness to it. Do you feel scared? Yes, sometimes. And not because of a fear of the content of the experience, it's more an overwhelming sense of confusion, and therefore that sort of ignites a fear response where you have to then sort of settle that fear, and you sort of do that by engaging with the content of the experience. So any entities that might be present, there is like a felt sense of a presence of another. And that's kind of in really, I mean, I find that that's in the sort of sub-breakthrough levels of the experience. There is definitely a sense of a presence of another watching. You feel like you're being watched. You feel like you are being maybe sort of in some kind of you feel like you're in some kind of, or behind some kind of mirror, where on the other side of the mirror people are watching and taking notes, and you are being sort of mesmerised by this content. And you're sort of engaging with that content, engaging with what's being laid out before you, and you are then, so you feel like, Nora, you're a fucking pain in my arse, old dog, you really are a pain in my arse. You feel like you are in some kind of nursery is a good way to describe it, where you're being shown all this just ridiculously you feel like you're in some kind of nursery environment where you're being shown all of this stuff. And you feel like you're in some kind of, nursery environment where you're being shown all of this ridiculous stuff that's just stuns you into a sort of just this hypnotic state. And then behind the scenes, behind some kind of one-way mirror, there are observers observing you and taking notes. That's kind of sub-breakthrough. Breakthrough, you feel like you are completely detached from this world, detached from the universe. You feel like you've travelled through some kind of portal, wormhole, and you are now at the mercy of your captors. And sometimes they're cool, sometimes they're a bit crazy. Things get a bit crazy in there. But it's all for the greater good. You feel like it's all for the greater good. So that's kind of the immersive feeling. Struggling there, walking dog, stuff to trip over and that. It's good fun. So that's the feeling of immersion and the feeling of being observed, the feeling of fear, the feeling of overwhelming comfort at some points when you become too scared. All of a sudden there's a maternal feeling that will wash over you, and you become comforted by, certainly for me, a feminine mother will appear, and she will scoop you up and say, no, he's had enough now. He's had enough fear. Let's give him a cuddle. Nothing else can harm you, little fellow. Nothing else can harm you now. And you're like, mummy, look after me, mummy. And What else do you feel? You feel an enormous sense of relief. You feel like you have survived, and you feel a new sense of appreciation for your life as you come out of the experience, certainly on the heavier breakthrough doses. And you know, we're not getting into kind of we're not getting into the kind of what messages can be learned or none of that. I'm just talking about the feeling, what information can be gathered in there, none of that stuff. We'll go into that further down the line, but just talking about the feeling. So like I said, as you come out of the experience, there's a sense of thankfulness that you're okay, that you've got your body back, and that I think is probably kind of one of the healing aspects. Let's recenter the gimbal. Is one of the healing aspects of this experience, is that you have this sort of refound appreciation for life, and for your life, and for the people in your life, and for your children, and for just normality, because of the sheer mind-blowing craziness that is the DMT experience. So you also feel comedy in a weird sort of way. There's a hilarity to the fucking confounding nuttiness of it. And again, you know, each experience is different. This is not all the time. Some experiences can be a very ethereal affair. Some experiences can just be fucking crazy. And there's like a comedy to it. There's also comedy from the entities, like Terence McKenna would talk about the elves laughing and the munchkins from The Wizard of Oz. And there is that element to it. There is this sort of, you don't get it. They're laughing at you, saying it's so simple. This whole riddle is so simple, and you can't get it. And you don't get it. And it's funny to them, and then you can find it being funny to you, but you don't know whether you're sort of like laughing as if you were laughing with someone who had captured you, and you'd be laughing, just, oh yeah, I get it. But no, there is a comedy to the experience, and I kind of draw a lot from that, because I do feel that it's something to do with our perception of reality, that the sort of the chemistry to unravelling what consciousness is and what the universe is and what this reality is much simpler than we are currently sort of trying to find ways to understand it. I think it's just, and we're just looking at it from the wrong direction. We're just looking at it in the wrong direction. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the feeling of the DMT breakthrough experience. For those of you that are thinking about having the experience, then I hope this helps.